Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Just Arsenal YouTube channel. This is the first episode with myself and Rob Worthington next to me on the screen. And we're just going to be talking about Arsenal things weekly, maybe once or twice a week, who knows, and quick little videos just discussing a topic. Today, we're focusing on the big news or the two major pieces of confirmed news that happened this week with Arsenal. Firstly, Mohamed Elneny has signed his new contract. Secondly, Eddie Nketiah is on the verge of signing a new contract, supposedly, according to all the reputable sources. We'll start with Nketiah because I think that's the more relevant piece of information to Arsenal and our squad next season. The Elneny one, I'm a bit more sort of like I don't care as much, to be honest. I don't think it's going to play as big a role in our season next season. I think the Nketiah deal is bigger because it means we probably aren't going to be signing two strikers. Um, we maybe will sign someone who can play down the middle, um, alongside maybe a Jesus, but I don't think we'll be getting two. Eddie, just right off the bat, tell me your thoughts on that new contract, Rob.
I'm happy. I think that he has developed massively as a player. This last few months really, but I could see it at the start of the season. I remember the first game of the season, I called for him to start Brentford, and then I think he was unavailable for that game. In the end, he picked up a slight knock. Um, and then the opportunities just seemed to fizzle out for him. He only really featured in the limited opportunities in cup competitions, and Lacazette was heavily favoured up top. And for long periods of the season, that was justified. Although Lacazette wasn't scoring goals, he was contributing with his all-round play. But then Lacazette stopped contributing with his all-round play. He started playing some very poor football, and Nketiah's got a look in, and he started playing really well. He scored important goals. He's getting off lots of shots. His all-round game is better. I still think he's got a lot to improve. However, I think it's a wise decision from the club. Just if you're able to tie down an English player, I know that by the sounds of things, we're paying him quite a lot of money, but that's just part of the product of sort of the Bosman aspect of this. With him about to leave for free, he would have been most likely being offered large sums of money from elsewhere, which sort of forced our hand. And it also means that we don't lose a goal scoring English striker for free if he stays for another season and we realise perhaps that wasn't the best decision. We can sell him for quite a bit of money next season. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this one.
See, I'm sort of torn, to be honest. I think it's a huge gamble, personally. I don't think the financial side of it is a gamble. I think, as you said there, it makes more sense. Re-signing him means, A, we don't have to go out and spend money on another striker for a large fee, which is likely. You know, we were talking a few days ago about the potential of Jesus and a Calvert-Lewin. You know, looking at that, that could cost you 60, 70 million in total. This will save you, 30 million possibly on that. I also think the wages. Firstly, we don't know for sure what the wages are. No one really knows in football because they're not ever actually published officially. Um, but they are high, but they make sense if he is going to fulfill a role as a very important second choice striker in a season where we're going to have to rotate heavily because of the World Cup. We're in the Europa League. That squad role sort of merits sort of 90 grand. That's where he's at. And as you said, the Bossman thing. For me, it's a gamble because I think Eddie Nketiah, for the large part, he's done very well in cup competitions, obviously. When he's come into the Premier League side, he hasn't been good until the last 7 games of this season, where I think he was legitimately pretty good. Like 5 goals, his all-round stats looked brilliant. His XG, his underlying numbers look great. As you said, he was getting a lot of shots off. He's a good player, in that 7 games. His link up play has improved. Still got a long way to go in that. If he can replicate that form next season, which there's a very good chance he could, because you could say it's a natural progression, natural development in his game. He's got a run of games, and because he's young, he's developing into that player that we hope to see. If he can replicate that, then I think it's a really good deal. It's quite an easy solution to our lack of strikers options, so it makes sense. My worry is it's a small sample size, and maybe this was a hot streak, kind of like Joe Willock at Newcastle in the end of last season. Is this form sustainable? Is it just a small sample size? And that's what we're going to see. But that does worry me personally. I hope I'm proved wrong. Um, but I think it's a gamble. But who knows? Mohamed Elneny, unless you want to say add anything to the Nketiah discussion.
No, I would agree that it's definitely a gamble. He's a player who has struggled quite a bit at Arsenal over the years, and it is his first consistent run in the side. But maybe that's what he's needed. There's also that aspect of it. Maybe he's needed to be trusted, and he finally has been, and he's done really well. But as you say, only time will tell really whether this deal was the right decision to make. And I think that the Willock example is a really good one to link to, because I don't think any of us can sort of say for certain whether Nketiah is going to carry on his form, but I don't think the club would be so naive to offer that sort of deal if they don't think that there's a player in this guy, pretty much. Yeah. And Arteta's always been a fan of him, in fairness.
Yeah, I agree. Um, he has always said that. Having said that, you really understand what a fit manager thinks of a player based on how much he uses him rather than the words in press conferences. Mohamed Elneny we'll touch on briefly. I think this one's less complicated. Um, I said throughout that I don't think we should sign him to a new deal. I thought again this was a bit of a hot streak. He did well at times. He also didn't have some. He has some poor performances. We know how limited he is. He's neat and tidy. Um, he keeps the ball. He doesn't progress it that much. He'll do fine in Europa League group stage games. I don't, my worry is that if Thomas Partey gets injured, we'll sort of, because of this run, will revert to Elneny as that lone six, which is just not a solution. I think if he plays a handful of League Cup, Europa League minutes, it's fine. If he plays more of a prominent role in the Premier League next season, that's where I'm like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, I think that's the opinion I have of it as well. I personally just want him to be there and be a good egg to have in and around the dressing room. Don't think he'll be on particularly high wages. And yeah, he's not sort of a disruptive figure. I just don't want Arsenal to become dependent on him again. I don't want him to be taking minutes away from Sambi in the Europa League next season. I just literally want him to be there for emergencies, and I'm comfortable with him being there for that. But anything more, I'm not happy. And if it influences sort of whether we go for a, because by all accounts we're not going to be looking to sign like a Thomas Partey understudy, but we're looking at players like Yuri Tielemans and Ruben Neves who could like maybe play in like a double pivot if Partey were to get injured alongside Xhaka. So if it's sort of that approach, I I would be frustrated if it influences our midfield sort of signings this summer, but I don't think it will. I feel like he is very much known to be extremely limited, and as well as he did do towards the end of the season, I think also he was eventually found out. Teams basically just let him play, and that's when Elneny's deficiencies are exposed.
Completely agree. We'll call it a day there. It's a nice little opening Just Arsenal video. Hope to see you more next week. Maybe we'll have 1 or 2 videos out then for you guys. Yeah. Thank you very much, Rob.
No worries. Nice being on Just Arsenal for the first time.
What a guy. What a signing for Just Arsenal. Hopefully, we'll get some more of the guys as well. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, bye.